In a devastating display of air power that has profoundly altered the strategic landscape in southern Ukraine, the Russian military has successfully executed a massive strike on the critical Antonivskyi bridge near the city of Kherson. The attack, which reportedly involved multiple waves of Su-34 fighter bombers, delivered a series of powerful FAB-guided aerial bombs directly onto the bridge support structure. The Antonivskyi Bridge, a vital lifeline spanning the wide Dnieper River, represented the most significant land route connecting Ukrainian forces in the liberated city of Kherson on the West Bank with their bridgeheads and operational areas on the occupied East Bank. Its destruction is a crippling blow to Ukraine's logistical capabilities in the south, severely hampering its ability to supply troops, transport heavy armor, and evacuate wounded personnel from the contested eastern shore. This strategic victory for Moscow effectively isolates Ukrainian units operating across the river, jeopardizing their positions and significantly complicating any future Ukrainian plans for counteroffensive towards the Crimean Peninsula. The attack was not just a tactical success, but a powerful demonstration of Russia's growing proficiency in using FAB bombs. These are massive Soviet-era high-explosive munitions that have been retrofitted with simple yet effective pop-out wings and a satellite guidance system, turning them into cheap, long-range glide bombs, launched from aircraft flying dozens of kilometers away. These weapons allow Russia to strike high-value targets with immense destructive power while keeping their expensive jets safely beyond the reach of Ukraine's increasingly strained and depleted medium-range air defense network. The news of the bridge destruction landed with the force of a bomb in Washington, triggering an emergency response across the Trump administration. The attack was seen as a direct and audacious military action that not only creates a severe crisis for the Ukrainian armed force, but also complicates President Donald Trump's state goal of brokering a rapid end to the conflict. The president was reportedly infuriated by the attack, viewing it as a deliberate act of escalation by Moscow that undermines any potential for good faith negotiations. While President Trump has consistently advocated for a deal to end the war, this blatant and successful Russian military operation makes balanced negotiations far more difficult. It strengthened Russia's hand in the south and put Ukraine in a position of significant military disadvantage, a reality that is not conducive to the kind of strong deal-making the president favors. The attack has forced the administration to confront the harsh military realities of the conflict and the limitations of purely diplomatic or economic pressure in the face of Russia's determined military campaign. The immediate and most intense pressure fell upon the Department of Defense. Secretary of Defense Peter Hegseth was in emergency sessions with the Joint Chief of Staff and his top commander within minutes of receiving confirmed intelligence of the strike. The Pentagon's primary and urgent focus is now on mitigating a full-blown logistical catastrophe for the Ukrainian military in the Kherson region. Secretary Hegseth has been in constant contact with the Ukrainian Minister of Defense, offering immediate American assistance to establish alternative means of crossing the Dnieper. He has tasked the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers with providing technical, schematics, and logistical support for the rapid deployment of pontoon bridge and high-capacity ferry services. However, he acknowledged in internal briefing that these are temporary and highly vulnerable solutions that cannot fully replace the capacity of a permanent structure like the Antonivskyi Bridge. The attack has galvanized Secretary Hegseth's resolve to push for a dramatic and immediate enhancement of Ukraine's air defense capabilities. He is now making the case directly to President Trump that the single most effective way to counter the FAB threat is to provide Ukraine with more advanced long-range air defense systems, such as additional Patriot batteries and, critically, a much larger stockpile of interceptor missiles. Furthermore, he has reopened the highly sensitive discussion about providing Ukraine with long-range army tactical missile systems, or ATACMS. He is arguing that the only durable solution is to give Ukraine the ability to hold the Russian airbase from which these bomber missions originated at risk. creating a deterrent that currently does not exist. The diplomatic fallout from the strike is being managed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He issued a blistering public condemnation of the attack, calling it a barbaric act of aggression aimed at prolonging the war and punishing the Ukrainian people. Secretary Rubio characterized the targeting of critical infrastructure as a core part of Russia's strategy to make Ukraine an unviable state. He is leveraging the attack in his diplomatic engagement, using it as powerful evidence in his call for European allies to step up their military support for Kyiv. He's pointing out to his counterparts in Berlin, Paris, and London that Russia's success with fab bombs in the south will only embolden it to use the same tactic elsewhere along the front, including in the brutal battles raging in the east. Secretary Rubio is arguing that the collective security of Europe is at stake and that now is the time for a unified and overwhelming show of support for Ukraine's air defense. He has instructed the U.S. mission to NATO to call for an emergency council meeting to discuss a coordinated response to Russia's escalating air campaign, pushing for a NATO-wide effort to source and deliver air defense assets to Ukraine. The intelligence community is working to provide a complete picture of the attack and its implication. Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, John Ratcliffe, has tasked his agency with confirming the precise type of munition used, the flight path of the attacking aircraft, and the specific airfield from which they operate. This detailed intelligence has been shared directly with Ukrainian military intelligence to aid in their defensive planning and any potential retaliatory actions. Director Ratcliffe's analysis is that this was a well-planned and professionally executed operation, indicating a high level of coordination within the Russian Air Force. Meanwhile, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is focused on the broader strategic consequences. He has assessed that this successful strike represents a major strategic win for Russia and will significantly boost morale within the Russian military and among the Russian public. He warns the president that this success will almost certainly lead Russia to institutionalize the use of fab bombs as a primary tools for shaping the battlefield. Director Gabbard also highlighted the risk of escalation, noting that the destruction of such a critical piece of infrastructure could provoke a significant Ukrainian response, possibly against high-value targets inside Russia, which would in turn trigger an even stronger Russian reaction. Her assessment underscores the dangerous new phase the war has entered, where both sides possess the capability to inflict devastating damage from a distance. The specific technical challenges of the bridge's destruction have brought the expertise of all the cabinet members to the fore. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy has been brought into high-level Pentagon discussion to consult on the engineering and logistical challenges of establishing and maintaining alternative river crossing. Drawing on his knowledge of infrastructure, Secretary Duffy is providing advice on the type of modular bridging and ferry systems that could be sourced from the United States or its allies and rapidly deployed to the Dnipro River. His department is working to identify private American engineering and logistic firms that might have the expertise and equipment to assist in what would be a massive and dangerous undertaking. All the parts of the administrations are responding within their own areas of responsibility. Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent is using the attack to reinforce his argument for even stricter enforcement of sanctions, particularly those targeting the Russian military-industrial complex. He's initiating a new effort to identify and sanction any international companies that may be supplying Russia with the microelectronic or machine tools used to produce the guidance kits for its fab bombs. For Attorney General Pam Bondi, the attack on the Antonivskyi Bridge is another entry in a growing files of potential Russian war crime. While a bridge can be a legitimate military target, her office is working with international legal experts to determine if the strike was proportionate and if Russia took adequate precautions to avoid civilian casualties, particularly if civilian vehicles were on the bridge at the time of the attack. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick noted that its destruction of such a major piece of infrastructure highlights the staggering costs of Ukraine's future reconstruction. He's using the event to stress the need for a comprehensive international plan, taking to a modern Marshall Plan to rebuild Ukraine after the war. Finally, the environmental impact of the strike is a concern for Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, Lee Zedlin. He has requested an assessment of the ecological damage caused by tons of concrete, steels, and other material collapsing into the Dnipro River, one of Eastern Europe's most important waterways. The strikes on the Kherson Bridge has thus sent shockwave through the entire US government, representing a grave new reality in the war and forcing a painful re-evaluation of the strategies needed to support Ukraine and counter a newly confident and destructive Russian military. Many of my listeners, like 70%, haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, and so many of you don't even know that you haven't subscribed. And that is actually what makes the show going. It's almost like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask again and again, because it enables us to grow and grow and grow. And we're going for the long haul here. And listen, if this is your first time listening to World Global Conflict, you don't have to subscribe. You guys, your first one's on me. But if you have watched this show before, it's like you are a freeloader now. So all I would ask you is, if you have seen this show before and you like it, help me, help my team here. Hit that subscribe and like button now, and we will continue to build this show for you. That I swear. Thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That's all for me for today. I will see you soon. Bye for now.